Alright. I'm live. Make sure this is muted. What's going on here? Now, depending on what part of the world you reside in, this is either really late. No, I mean technically this is just a really early live stream. I have not gone to bed yet. But yeah, so this is just a really early, really late. If you're up all night like me, then this is just really late. But for the rest of the normal world, this is just a really early stream. But yeah, I think everything's coming out okay. Am I? Okay, good. Cool. I'm just gonna work on this spread of Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb. Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb. Probably only gonna stream for a couple. I don't know if I can make it for a couple of hours, but I'll just go for. I'll shoot for an hour. See how this goes. Oh, let's see if I can pop out the chat for a change. What's this? Hold potentially inappropriate? No, I don't want to do that. Haha, it's working. Sweet. Put that right there. Why is it doing that? Blech. Oh, we got a couple people in here. Uncanny Kodiak, hey, welcome. So Ethan had a stream earlier tonight that was working on this page. Then I decided I didn't like the way I had to make adjustments to everything. But it's coming out okay right now. Just thought it was a little funny when they started bringing up the butthole incident. And I'm like, I'm working on a butt right now. But I didn't want to bring that up. Uncanny Kodiak. Yes, it's my late night as well, but I started working on something and it started looking good, so I've been working on it all night. Yep, that's the last, like, that was something that I always had a really I mean, bad habit of, or maybe it's a good thing, but once you get into the groove and it just starts it just starts coming out and you don't want to stop. So right now I'm working on a 2-page spread, pages 18 and 19. And I had to make some adjustments to Knuckle Bomb because I'd forgotten in the previous pages I had modified the dress she was wearing in this scene, or rather in the previous scene, but it's still the same dress. So I had to make some real quick modifications. And save. Junkyard done. Welcome. It's 7 p.m. in Tokyo, so the night is young here. Nice. But yeah, I was the live stream earlier kind of knocked it just through my schedule. Well, it was really just dinner. I was about ready to head out to go get something to eat. And then I saw EVS was gonna start up Comic Artist Pro Secrets Live. I'm like, wow, it's been a while. So I'd stick around, see what's up. So I was in there before he started up. Got to chat with him for a bit. That was fun. But yeah, after the stream, I was like, ugh, I need to eat. Then just grabbed something to eat real quick, got back, and started working again. So Battlemane and Knucklebomb is currently about 34% complete right now. So, almost 17. I'd say 16 pages completed. Yeah, page 15 isn't quite done yet, so... Uncanny Kodiak, man, I would love to visit there. Or I would like to visit there. Yeah, me too, man. I hope there is more love after his book is done. Did you do art school? Art school. Not... Well, actually, yeah, I did. So... I mostly started off, you know, just what my dad taught me. My dad's the one who you know, he had a what is his degree in? He's got a bachelor's in arts. I think if it's not fine arts, it's in graphic design. But you know, he gave me instruction when I was growing up. He gave me instruction, threw the books at me, and you know, told me to study. He wasn't like your typical Asian dad who'd like, I mean, he cracked the whip for sure, or the belt, but you know, he wasn't. He's more of the practical Asian dad opposed to the super, you know, study. You know, you bring home a B, you're gonna get a whooping. All A's. No, he was the type to teach practicality over his studies, but he taught me pretty much everything that I know about art until high school, and high school is actually when I produced my very first illustration where I showed it to him, and he's like, "That's good." And up until that point, I had always received criticism for everything that I did, like every single drawing. There was always something wrong with it, and so you know, he'd give me proper criticism. He'd tell me what's wrong with it, what I could do to correct it, and you know, just give me some advice, and he'd give me books to supplement my learning. I was like the only kid that I knew in middle school, you know, 7th, 8th grade, carrying around books on anatomy and perspective, which is, I could have gotten in trouble now that I think about it, you know, a book full of naked ladies and guys, and it's like, but but you know, my dad gave me the guidance that I needed until high school, and then after that it was kind of like yeah, I'd still talk to him for guidance, but for the most part, I had already established my path where I was going. So in high school, I took cartooning, and that didn't really help much, to be honest. I had some cartooning books that I was reading up in middle school. So by the time I got into high school, uh, all of the uh, all of the classes that they offered, I had already learned all the stuff that they were teaching, and so my parents signed me up for um, the Art Center College of Design in Pasadena was offering Saturday high classes for high school students, college courses or classes for high school students, and so I got signed up for a couple of those. Well, the first one was figure drawing, and yeah, at that point I thought it was pretty good, but you know, I go in there and I find out just how bad I was, compared to the college students that had their work on display. So my instructor there, Craig Atterbury, he was a student of Bern Hogarth, who drew one of the anatomy books, dynamic figure drawing, that I carried around in my backpack for a while. So that was pretty cool. But no, I in total I've only taken like a couple of figure drawing classes, and one, what was it called? It was a class where they just had you paint, and they explained composition. I think it was just like basic design, and those were really the only classes that I've actually taken. Everything else is self-taught through the books and whatever my dad told me. But as far as that's why I forgot what video it was I was talking about it, but you know, art schools nowadays, I mean, you really don't need to go to an art school. You can find all the knowledge online. But the real benefit of the art school is having the peers, being in a class with students that are there to, having that classroom dynamic is always a well, in most cases it's always a positive, and has it can be beneficial. Like, especially when it comes to art, having eyes on your work, getting a lot of input from various different people, getting criticism, critiques on your work, and the best thing about school is that it forces you to do the work. You go in there, and you have to really get down your fundamentals, and so they force you to do all the work, and that's really the structure when it comes to art schools is really helpful. But as far as the information that they provide, you can find that online or in books. So if it's a bit too expensive, there are alternatives. Self-taught sounds like you were basically homeschooled art. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Homeschooled art, and then working for myself at home in the home studio. But yeah, I mean, it's been a hell of a year for me. I gotta admit, man. Shoot, am I still? I have to find out if it came out. I'm under NDA, but there's a comic publisher that picked up some of my work and are publishing it in a book. So I have to find out if that book's come out or not. So that happened earlier this year, and then, I registered Murakumo Comics. So it's like I got my own business now, working on Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb. Got to meet all these great peoples through Comicsgate and everything, so it's pretty cool. Alright, what are we gonna do? Work on Vogel next, but save. Junkyard done. That's pretty cool that your father mentored you in art. Comics got me started with drawing, then manga. Once college came around, I just couldn't dedicate time to growing as an artist. Yeah, man, it's a time sink, really. I mean, if you want to take art seriously, like there's no I mean, there's doing your homework and studying and learning, but then there's the application. You have to actually put what you learned into practice, and that's where the time sink comes into play. You know, you have to dedicate so many hours to just practicing, just drawing, because you know, Thing Zoo, FCD, he's got a great YouTube channel. He's an illustrator, that concept designer actually, and he came from the art center, but he always says, like, you know, the guy who puts in only 5 hours a day drawing is never going to catch up to the guy who puts in like 12 hours a day, because once you accumulate those hours just on a day by day, and then weekly, and then monthly, and then yearly, it's like the person who's putting in 12 plus hours a day drawing is just going to be just way far ahead, and you know, just way more advanced than the person who's not putting in enough time and effort. So, you know, you really have to have a lot of time to dedicate to the art if you want to you know, and that's speaking if you want to go for like a if you're looking for like commercial art, you know, people who are looking to make a living doing their art. You have, you know, you have your art purists out there who are your starving artists who you know, do it just for the sake of the art. How dare you sell your art? You know, those kind of people. And you know, that's cool if that's the way you want to approach your art. But you know, for people like myself, this is how we make a living. So you know, we have to put in a little bit. We have to consider it as more of a business than anything. Air shark, cute butt. Yeah, I had to. It's really the pencil that really kind of make it. But the man, I struggled for the longest time trying to draw like the flowing skirts. But then once you get, you know, just grab like some cloth or something and just study how the folds like the way that they overlap and such, and then it becomes really fun to make them. But yeah, I was gonna make another point. I forgot what I was gonna say though. Blech. Uncanny Kodiak. Yeah, isn't that crazy how CG is supposed to be these crazy, extremely right racists, and yet I have met so many different people from different walks of life. It's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, the ones who are, you know, throwing out all of those accusations, anybody who's just like, I mean, it's for the most part, it's the fringe left that are throwing out all these accusations, and if you're like just a degree to the right of where they stand, which everybody is either at where they are on the left side or just slightly over. You know, even centrists and libertarians are too right for their liking. You're immediately labeled whatever they want to call you for that day. So I just I've avoided most of it very successfully too, actually. But it's just, you know, it doesn't matter to me. I'm my own boss. I'm doing the best for with my comic, and I'm just gonna let the merits of my comic speak for itself. Uh, and yeah, that's about that's about all I can do. All right, this guy, he's got not shoulder pads. He's got an elbow pad right here. Vogel's big glasses right here. I have so many characters with glasses. Just kind of like, why did I do that? Vogel's head's looking a little too... I don't know, it might work. Let's see what... White in the mouth. It's got teeth. It's gonna be like this. And then the mustache, and yeah, I think his face needs to be slimmed down a bit. Or just white in the glasses. His spectacles. Yeah, that works. Maybe not so round up here. No, that's just free transform. Let's take advantage of the digital tools that we have. That works. Save. Let us know when it's out. We'll definitely buy. Battle Maiden Knucklebomb. Knucklebomb is currently in demand on Indiegogo. You could check it out at kyunglee.com. Uncanny Kodiak. Yeah, isn't it? Wait, I read that already. Wait, how did I get... I must have missed it. Google02? Googly 2. Great stream, inspiring for beginners to hear your story. Huh, thank you. Junkyard Done. We're mostly normies. Yeah. Junkyard Done. Cheers, Kyung. Gotta go play with my little one now. Catch the rest of this when you upload it. You're constantly knocking it out of the park with your art. Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's you know, that's the thing though, you know, it's great seeing all these people with, you know, their families. And I mean, that's one of the reasons why I really liked, or one of the reasons why I really was kind of drawn to Tug's channel. Is, you know, he'd bring on the little one, and it's like he wasn't afraid. Yeah, he wasn't afraid of, I don't want to say exposing, but like bringing her on to onto the channel. And you know, people are, with the exception of like one individual, uh everyone's been really, really cool about it, really decent. You know, the world, well, I mean, let's just say that the internet can be uh a very not safe place for children. So it's nice to see decent people, yeah, in the chat, being very receptive to like Elizabeth's stories and stuff like that. Yeah, I actually have, you know, switch over there real quick. I've got the key art for the Tug project ready for ready to be transferred over to Bristol. So this is the way I'm going to be approaching the comic. Is I'm going to be doing the sketch work, and the sketches aren't going to be as elaborate as this one is, but this is just regular tabloid paper, plain paper. I think I would say about 50-60 pound paper. So really, you know, it's just regular printer paper, 11 by 17. So what I do is I print out the sketch on regular paper, and then I'll bring in a piece of Bristol and place it over. And this just came in a couple of days ago. I got a new light table, and so, you know, LED light table. So, or light box. It's not really. And really, can you really consider this a box? So, yeah, I used to have a light box way back in the day, and that thing was like not quite the size of this this drawing board, but it was thick, man. It was like friggin' at least 6. I'm terrible when it comes to measurements. At least like 6-7 inches thick, and because, you know, I had to have the fluorescent inside of it. So now we got LEDs, and I mean, this thing can be powered with a AC adapter or USB. So yeah, that's pretty cool. No, what's happening? This guy's got a vest on, if I remember correctly. So that's, oh yeah, that's why I put that there. This thing has a strap going in like this. It's got the strap coming in right here. So, oh, I got hit in the back of the head. Then he's got something like, hey, I have to go look up the piece of armor. Yeah, so right now I'm just really loosely putting in details. I mean, I've obviously tightened it up with Saya here, a little bit with Vocal there, but yeah. So I'll work like this, and I just skip around. But if I ever get bored with the page I'm working on, I just move on to the next one, or move on to inks, and that's why I have some pages that are just like, they just require the grays and the effects to be added in. Some pages need to be inked, but for the most part, most of the pages have, I'd say about 80% of the pages have been fleshed out almost to this, you know, they've been blocked out with the characters at least, but yeah, I still have to go in there. Like this one, the dialogue still hasn't been done. When actually I usually do the dialogue before I start tightening up the sketches. So what happened with this one was I decided, you know what, I'm going to combine pages 18 and 19 and do this partial spread right here with that division. So yeah, I'll save that. Uncanny Kodiak. The action on the page is phenomenal. Her leg is bent perfectly. Oh, thanks. That was actually something that, when it comes to kicks, is something, you know, as somebody who, I used to be heavily invested in the martial arts, and now I'm just heavy. I hurt my back when I was a senior in high school, and after that, dang, it was when I was a senior, wasn't it? And after that, I just, you know, I had to recuperate, you know, chiropractic care, and I just never really recovered 100%, so I never could. I was doing really stupid stuff. I remember when I injured my back, I was doing a jumping, spinning hook kick. It was some stupid, like, high-flying taekwondo kick, and I landed improperly because the floor, it was like a brick pavement, but it was uneven, and so I landed on a crooked brick, and just it was awful. But yeah, so, you know, whenever I used to draw the kicks, I would draw them with, you know, just fully extended like that, but then it's like, wait a minute, there's actually a bend to it. So, looking up, you know, martial art, I had, along with art books, I had a lot of martial art books to go along with it. And so, yeah, I had lots of reference for that too. So that was, I used to practice drawing out of anatomy books and then jump over to a dynamic, what was it called? Yeah, dynamic kicks book, and had like some of the taekwondo masters who are pulling off these crazy kicks. And I'll just switch over to inks for now. I still call it a light box though. Mine is even smaller than yours, like 10 by 11 or something. Yeah, I actually found a pretty good deal on this one, Huion. This one has, well, I mean, it can accommodate 11 by 17. That's really all that I was looking for. But yeah, I was just surprised at the size of them. I mean, I mean, I knew that it was possible with the technology we have nowadays, but I mean, it's still, like, I got it, and it's like, oh, well, it's a light tablet. Keeping continuity seems like it's a pain. It can be. Actually, you know what? I thought that was what we were gonna discuss on Sons of Comic Skate Live yesterday. Yesterday was, well, technically 2 days ago, on Thursday night on Professor Geek's channel. But continuity when it comes to both the story on the writing side of things and continuity with the art, you know, that's, and it's very little things, like this page, for example. I actually planned out this page, or rather, I planned out the positioning of the characters because of the dialogue. I knew that Claire was going to speak up in this, you know, close-up panel right here, and I knew Saya was going to be responding, so I had to seat Saya opposite Claire and Jill, so that this bubble could be right here, so that the flow of the page would be very, very easy to follow. So you have Claire here, Saya, Claire, Claire, you know. And then whenever, you know, every panel after this establishing shot, it's a good idea to keep the characters on the same sides That way it doesn't really confuse the readers, and it's easy to follow. So if you were to like switch them around, like approach it from this angle, I mean, it still makes sense. I mean, if you look at this panel and then say this one was flipped, I mean, Saya's just looking towards the left now, but the reader would have to, take that into consideration, would have to adjust, opposed to just keeping it, consistent. So just little things like that contribute to the consistency and the continuity of storytelling. So a lot of small little things like that come into play when it comes to storytelling. Just a lot of small little rules that you have to keep in mind, and it just becomes easier the longer you do comics. You don't have to really think about it. It just kind of comes naturally after a while. Whoops. Rotate's going a little crazy on me. So I walked over to, or not walked over to, but went over to, my brothers were watching something right before the Christmas party. Like I said, they watch anime every single day, and they were watching a new, I don't know if it's new actually. I think it is new, but I forgot what it's called. But the way that they, different animation studios have different ways of drawing the eyes, and some of them are, really well known for the way they do the character eyes. But this, I think, this anime, and I'll ask them about it tomorrow when I see them. What was that one anime that you guys were watching? But the way they did the eyes, I think it's the way it's done in the manga. I stole it. I never used to, I didn't include this little one right here. And then the way they do it in the anime is that it's semi-transparent. It's usually like a full-blown highlight, usually when you see it in manga and anime, but yeah, I started doing the little bit of hatching there, and I stole it. So it's mine now. No. But, it's just, I did a video on style recently, and it's like, your style is subject to change, and you're likely to pick up on things as you progress throughout your artistic career, and it's like, if you see something you like, incorporate it into your style, bring it into your work, do it your own way, and yeah, after you've done that, you've made a change to your style. And style is always adapting, it's always growing, you're always learning new things. That's why style is something that's very important, but at the same time just kind of develops naturally. And as a result, you really don't have to think about it all that much. Yeah, go thinner. Save. Let's see. Camilo Wallace, welcome. I used to do karate when I was a kid. I wish to get back to it someday. Oh yeah, karate is actually... I wanted to do karate, but I just never got around to doing it. Yeah. Saya does, she's a practitioner of Shitoryu karate. Later on in the story, I think it was on Professor Geek's, no, actually, I think it was, where did I say? On someone's videos, on someone's channel, I mentioned that Saya's actually going to level up throughout the course of her journey. And one of the ways she's going to level up is she's going to... I've got the mic right in front of my face. One of the ways that she's going to level up in her journey is she's going to incorporate new martial arts into her, her repertoire. And so, like, for instance, she's going to... Throughout the course of the story, she's going to come across like a grandmaster of well, why am I drawing a blank all of a sudden? Gojuryu karate, and that particular discipline has a... Is it the iron shirt or iron armor? It has a lot of emphasis on conditioning the body and strengthening the body, and so she'll learn that, and then she'll learn how to harness her ability to manipulate the biokinetic concussive force and use it as a way to enhance her physical not resistance, her physical constitution. Her essentially become, if she focuses it, she can become almost indestructible. But that sounds extremely overpowered. But she has to, in order to achieve that that state of being, she has to, constantly. She has to channel it. She has to, she can't be doing anything else. She has to just channel the power to have that state of iron armor. But she is extremely resilient as it is, so... But yeah, it's going to be... I have a lot of things planned when it comes to how she's able to manipulate her energies, and a lot of it is kind of rooted in her martial arts discipline. So let's see. John Wallace, morning. Hey, John, how's it going? Good morning. Uncanny Kodiak. Kyung, you're a machine, brother. I can't keep my eyes open more. I plan to be a regular. I plan to be a regular now that I'm subbed. Ah, hey, appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be turning in pretty. How long? Jeez, 47 minutes already, man. Time flies, man. I swear. I'll go on for at least 20 more minutes if I can. But yeah, I'm pretty. I made the mistake. Oh, when was it? Wednesday night. Wednesday night for whatever reason I decided to go to sleep like at 9. it was before I got into the yeah, if I go to bed any sooner than 2 a.m. it's too soon. But yeah, I don't know what came over me. I was just really, really groggy that night. So I went to bed and woke up like 3 in the morning. And I was like, I'm usually going to sleep around this time. Holy crap. So I just, you know, it's nice and quiet during those hours, which is why I'm usually awake. So I just, you know, got to work. But, you know, it's when you love your work, you know, when you love doing the thing, when you're working and you love the thing that you're doing, it's wonderful, wonderful setup. But yeah, man, we got so many artists who are currently, you know, they got their nose to the grindstone. We have the Brett Weisers who are, you know, not doing a whole lot online. They got a lot of work to do. We have Captain Light, Kanan. Kanan hasn't been on Drawn and Quartered for a while. Need to get him back. But yeah, he's really working hard on his comic. And then he's gonna be doing the all caps comics with Ethan, so that's really good for him. Oh wait, that's the hair. So let's do there. Whoosh, bring that over here. How's that looking without the sketch? That's another one of the advantages to working digitally is you can get rid of the undersketch and just observe the inks as you're going along. And bring it back. Oh, and this one's a flow through as well. And save. Tommy Sorkinen, to keep powers consistent, have you thought about building the characters with an RPG system, like Mutants and Masterminds? I do have my own system. It's, you know, I've run D&D campaigns for for so long. I have a little bit of a homebrew system, and so I kind of use a variant of that homebrew system to keep track of the powers, because one of the things that I was really careful about when I was designing Saya and, you know, giving her her abilities and such, was I didn't want to create an infallible hero, because, you know, I mean, having a hero and having a hero with that's not vulnerable is, first of all, it's not relatable. You know, one of the it's heroes with, or rather characters with flaws that we can well, I don't want to say that we can relate to. I mean, that sounds kind of bad, but, you know, it's somebody once told me that what defines the characters isn't their strengths but their weaknesses. And when you think about these character flaws, I mean, that's why a protagonist like Batman is so popular. In most cases, a lot of people gravitate towards Batman opposed to Superman. And when you look at the two, Batman fundamentally, you know, as a character, has a lot more flaws than Superman does. But and that's also, you know, a reason why so many writers have a hard time writing for Superman, is they can't come up with ways to make the character vulnerable, with the exception of kryptonite, and that seems to be their go-to every single time. But yeah, I wanted to be very careful with Saya to make sure that she wasn't overpowered, and that, you know, she would have a rogues gallery that would pose a threat, you know, inject stakes into the comic. You know, there's an actual chance that Saya could be fatally injured, or any of her friends for that matter. And, you know, unlike what DC did with Superman, the death of Superman didn't kill Superman, it killed death. And so, you know, as a result, in the DC universe, it's very you know, the stakes have been removed for the most part. I mean, we have that latest comic, what was it? Heroes in Crisis or something like that, where they killed off so many of the heroes, it just wiped them out. And who cares, really? I mean, nobody really seemed to care. It's because, you know, it's all the stakes have been lost. Nobody really cares. So when it comes to Battleman and Knucklebomb, for instance, you know, if we do decide to kill off any characters, it's yeah, it's not going to be cheapened. Oh man, I'm gonna have to go in here later on, create the the home screen, whatever it is that's on her phone. Oh shoot, wait a minute. Ah, I'm not done with page 10. I forgot to put the sign on there. And save. I used to do karate. Killing your machine to keep powers consistent. John Wallace, you're kicking ass, Kyung. I'm rooting for you, brother. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. You know, John has a lot of so many, like, every time he pops up on my Twitter feed, he has so many characters being drawn. You know, he's commissioning artists, giving people work, and, you know, helping them realize, you know, these characters that he's come up with. It has very interesting philosophy, or I don't know if it's a philosophy, but, you know, a very interesting way of developing some of these characters. I don't really want to repeat it on YouTube, but yeah, he's got some really good looking characters there. All right, let's fix this. This finger is way too long. That's a pretty big phone she's got. Yeah, I'm just really... I was listening in on... I caught the tail end of Fanspeak earlier yesterday. Chester Spee and friends, and you know, 2019 is gonna be really, really exciting for independent comics. We have a lot of people who are planning on launching in February and March, so it's gonna be really interesting seeing these new projects. Not only new projects, we're gonna have some projects that are returning. You know, some of these projects that didn't reach their funding goals the first time around. You know, they've had enough time to get in there, restructure their campaigns, add in some additional content, and, you know, get in there for another pitch. So that's going to be really cool seeing all those it's going to be an explosion of campaigns in February. Camilo Wallace, make Saya using G-string underpants. Not for this pay. It's gonna be... I'm not sure how, in the page I was... the spread, the 2-page spread I was working on earlier, you know, they'll want to suggest that she got all, dressed up for her uncle's birthday and wore a dress with a G-string underneath. It might give the wrong impression. Maybe for one of the pinups that I do of her. Somebody actually asked, and I didn't respond yet, but somebody asked, you know, why does Saya wear the baggy hoodie? because you have Saya in a bodysuit, and she's got this really strong and strong yet sensual physique. And you know, why does she hide away in a baggy hoodie? And the answer is, you know, she's actually very self-conscious of her new body, and the transformation that she goes through. I mean, she goes from being a very thin. She's not on here. I mean, she's here. I mean, you can see her. She's, you know, she's a petite Asian girl. Which if you don't know, Saya is actually Japanese and German. Her father's German. Her mother right here is Japanese. And you know, she's been fairly petite most of her life. And so when she suddenly turns into, you know, her physique is now, you know, that which is the physique that you see on Knucklebomb. First of all, she's very self-conscious of her body. Secondly, it's going to be very odd to like people who know her and see her, you know, she suddenly shoots up a few inches and is now like bodybuilder status. So she wears the baggy clothing to kind of hide it away, to make it less noticeable at first. But it is a self-conscious issue. You know, she's conscious of her new appearance and not fully embracing of it just yet. We're gonna throw in a little bit of humor, yeah, with that, because one of the, that's really, and you know, that's DNC, Diversity in Comics brought it up in his review of One Punch Man, and it's like, you look at the way, for instance, DC treats their characters, right? Particularly when it comes to the animation. You look at the animation, you look at, like, I personally was never a big fan of the way the animated movies for DC look like. And I was never a really big fan of that style. And personally, I think the animation is really stiff and just bleh. So, but I've seen a few of them. But DNC says, you know, you look at like Lois Lane's office or Lex Luthor's office, or you know, it just looks like a plain room. It's just a room with a desk in it, and it looks so generic. It looks very uncharacteristic. There's no character to the background, and it's like that could be anybody's office. It doesn't actually look like anyone has settled in and made it their own. So it's just bland and generic. Whereas if you look at One Punch Man, you look at Saitama's apartment, there is so much in his apartment that makes it relatable. I mean, Saitama has all of his manga all over the floor because he lays on the floor and he reads his manga. He's got his TV. He has, you know, they show pictures of his bath. They show like his toothbrush, the thing that he keeps his toothbrush in, his toothbrush holder. They show the little elephant spout that he waters his plants with out on his balcony. It's like these these very mundane items, these everyday common items. Saitama has them too, and it's like that is something that we can relate to as the viewers, and also adds character. And through, you know, by giving these little elements to the background, you are developing character for the environment, for the background itself. The setting becomes a character and reflects upon the actual residents that are residing within it. So, you know, just when it comes to manga, you know, these are the type of things that we take into consideration when we are creating our characters. We're not just creating the characters, but we're also, you know, we have to take into consideration how they live their lives. And, you know, like Saya's phone right here, it's gonna be pretty plain, but Claire right here, you know, you don't see it yet, but she's gonna have like some trinkets on her phone, and the trinkets are gonna indicate, you know, give hints as to her personality, you know, what kind of things she likes and, you know, what she's into. So I'm not quite sure how I got started on that, but yeah, it's something that came to mind when I saw that video earlier this month. Let's see. Tommy Sarkinen. If you published RPG stats, you could have Battle Maiden pay pay what you want PDF on online store like DriveThru, widening the reach to RPG side. That would be interesting. Yeah, DriveThru actually. I used DriveThru to print some game cards. I had a for Airgites, the web comic series that I produced a few years ago. It's gonna be like 5-6 years ago, with 2019 coming up. But I actually was I had a TCG planned because I was actually studying game design for quite some time. Actually, I didn't take any real classes, but I was listening to lectures by was it Andrew Garfield, the creator of Magic the Gathering, and just I bought his book and was reading through just learning about game design, learning about oh shoot, I forgot, I have all my notes over on that desk over there. But I was seriously trying to develop a TCG, but unfortunately, I would have to go about creating more of a living card game than a TCG, because I don't want to deal with all of the booster boxes, the update, just constantly updating with booster boxes and booster packs. Really, I mean, distribution for booster packs is gonna be a real pain. But yeah, no, one thing that I really thought would be very cool is, Mike Miller has a trading card for Lone Star, and he has the stats on the back, on the reverse side of the card, that show the stats like you would see on the Marvel Universe cards. They show like the strength, speed, fighting ability, and stuff like that. And it showed the graph too, and it's like that was one of the best things about the trading cards. Actually, I actually had them on my desk yesterday, or the day before actually, because I had bought a new. I went over to I bought some new trading cards, and so I had to sleeve them and put them away. But yeah, that would be really cool if like we could get everybody within the Comicsgate universe, or everybody who's involved with Comicsgate, and get Cyberfrog, get Lone Star's already done, but get like the Graveyard Shift, and get all of their stats and get them measured and have them all statted, have all of their attributes properly recorded. That way you can make the comparison across multiple universes. But then again, that might be, I don't know, might not be possible depending on the universe. So but that'd be pretty cool. All the characters in the Murakumo comics universe will have that. So that'd be cool if like all caps would incorporate that into their universe, or Ethan's universe. Oh, technically, they also have Graveyard Shift is now part of all caps, so it's no longer just Ethan's universe, but it is his business. Wait a minute, what's happening here? That's not how her hair goes. Oh, I'm following this. Let me erase that. There. That one goes. This one goes in right here. Like that. Let's see if you can use that. I think you can do few with open license, Eminem at least. Her uncle could have done a good costume and stuff, but the underpants keeps entering her butt because of her movements. That is a good point. You got the atomic wedgie. It was riding up there. That was actually my my ex-wife used to joke around. It's like she would joke because, you know, she had very fair skin, or she has very fair skin, and she'd look at like a wrestler like Sheamus, you know. Sheamus is so white, but she'd always say, I gotta find out where Sheamus buys his underwear, because you know, professional wrestlers, their trunks don't ride up. It's like, I gotta find those. Backgrounds are important to tell about the person. Yeah, they definitely, it's part of the story. I mean, it is the setting of the story, so, you know, you should put in as much, well, let's just say the more you put into it, you know, the more fleshed out the world is. Especially as you have limited room as panels to tell story, background. Yeah, exactly. You could actually, like, just by, like, one of the anime that I watched when I was, when did I find out about it? It was one of the first, actually, so it was around 5th, 6th grade that I first watched it. Devil Hunter Yoko, Mama no Hanta Yoko. Devil Hunter Yoko, there's, which episode is it? 3? Although they're technically OVAs, so the third, or was the third a music special? One of the, I'm pretty sure it was the third one. What the hell was the second one? I can't remember. It's been a while. Well, one of the episodes showed Yoko was in her room, and her mother and her grandmother went out for some reason, like on a cruise or something, and so she's at home by herself. She's bored to death. And so she just lays on the floor. And as she's laying on the floor, just kind of talking to herself, the camera pans out and you see how she's spending like her days alone at the house. So they got potato chips sprawled all across the floor. But the thing is, you also see elements in the background that tell you about her as a character that I didn't know about until that episode. Like, for instance, there was it was either a Super Famicom or a Sega a Mega Drive. And it's like, oh, she has video game systems, video game consoles. I didn't know she played video games and stuff like that. Lots of manga sprawled across the bed and on the floor. So she reads manga, and it's like, without having to explain to the reader through dialogue, oh, hey, this character reads manga. No, you show that they read manga. Show, don't tell. It's one of the it's a very, very common technique when it comes to writing. Show, don't tell. I have a feeling I've gone on way longer than I thought I would. Yep. That's okay. I think I'll finish up, I'll finish inking Claire here, and then I'll call it a night, you guys. Brush is acting kind of weird right now. What's happening here? I have to recalibrate again? This is very odd. I think I just need to restart. Save. So the small things hanging on phones in Asian dramas are damn cute and tell me a lot about relationships. Yeah, the little charms. I used to have. I had a bunch of them, but I never actually put them on my phone. I was always paranoid that having it in my pocket would somehow scratch the screen. But then, that's why you let the charm dangle outside of the pocket. But I have very deep pockets. On the RPG side, I do think a game stat PDF with the CG characters would be nice to have. I could sell a few hundred copies easily. Not big money, but frankly could bring some new comics customers. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's another one of the plus sides about you know, Comicsgate, bringing in all, you know, people from all walks of life, and people from, you know, all types of different hobbies. I mean, Chester must be was talking about, you know, tabletop gamers, and TCG players. You know, I got real heavily invested in Cardfight Vanguard and Weiss Schwartz. Cardfight Vanguard, you know, mostly Bushiroad card games, but I never actually played Magic the Gathering, but I knew a lot about it. And technically, I mean, Force of Will is essentially Magic the Gathering, just they solved the mana problem. But, no, Force of Will was pretty cool. I got, actually, yeah, I was really invested in that one until it started to, well, it started to be not so fun. But, you know, we have people who are interested in, you know, domestic comics. We have people who are into manga, anime, video games, tabletop gaming, RPGs, you know, tabletop role-playing, pen and paper. That's the one thing I had to sacrifice when I started taking art really seriously, is I was always afraid of this when I was younger, because, you know, when I was younger, video games were my life. It was a very, very crucial, essential part of my life, and, you know, today it still is, actually. Games are always going to be a very crucial and essential part of my life, but I just have no time to play them anymore. I mean, I've got my Switch right here on the table next to me, and I haven't touched it in 3 weeks. If it wasn't in the case, it'd be collecting dust. Where the heck's my dock? I don't know where my dock is. I have to go find it. But yeah, I still have games that, oh man, so that's actually quite depressing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have about 5 games that are actually still in their shrink wrapping. I haven't even opened them. I just bought them because I'm like, I'll get to it eventually. And I want to play Red Dead Redemption 2, but I'm gonna wait for it to come out on PC, if it comes out for PC. I was waiting for the longest time for Red Dead Redemption to come out on PC and never did. Luckily, you know, I had enough time back when that game came out to play it on. I played it on 360 at the time. But yeah, when was it? Was it Drawn and Quartered? Someone brought up gaming, and I just kept quiet, because if I start talking about gaming, you know, I'm not gonna stop. I was before anything else, you know, I was a really avid gamer. Tommy Sarkinen. Sorry. I have not time to play, so I watch the playthrough videos on YouTube. Persona 5, for example, and then turn those as tabletop RPG plotlines and experience them that way. That's pretty cool. Shoot. Persona 5 came out just after I had separated with my wife. So Persona 5 kind of, I was, the place that I was in mentally, I was like kind of vacant. I was able to do whatever I wanted. Like I didn't really have much going on at the time. And so Persona 5 kind of filled that void. But right before that I was playing Yakuza 0. Oh man. Was that yes? That was last, that was the last year. That was 2 years. Wait, was it? Crap. I forget. But that wasn't last. That was 2 years ago. That had to have been 2 years ago. I don't know. But yeah. No, we had some like back to back to back really killer games. We had Nier and then Yakuza 0 and then I went from Nier to Yakuza 0 to Persona 5. There was one more really big one, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, Final Fantasy 15. Yeah. Which actually I just downloaded a NVIDIA had the new drivers for 15. I'm like, they're still pumping out they went nuts with all of the NVIDIA features on the PC. I've got a PC that could run it, but I just don't have the time. I finished 15 back before they before they fixed the god awful last chapter of the game, or last couple chapters, whatever it is, when they added in those elements of horror. There's just the unnecessary attempts at jump scares and everything like that. It's like, really? Just that whole last portion of the game was such a drag. But I hear they fixed it. My son went through the new iteration of it, said that it's way better. I'm like, okay, I'll have to check it out someday. But I don't know, like I would do YouTube, like I would watch, but I'd have to find like a silent silent let's play, because especially with, you know, RPGs like that, you don't want, you know, you want to kind of get immersed in the experience, but then it's aggravating when you're following along and it's like a it's one of those you could choose your scenario, you could choose what to say, and they don't choose what you would say, and it's like rah. Or if they choose the wrong character to pursue a relationship with in the game. Why are you going with shit, I can't remember any of the character names at this point in time. But Persona 5, just Persona in general, the social links are one of the best aspects of the game. I remember I bought Persona 2 when I was and I don't know what compelled me to buy Persona 2. It's back when I used to have a Toys R Us near the house when I was a kid, and they would have sale, you know, they would have a sale on PlayStation games, and I picked up Suikoden 2. I still have that one, and Persona 2. And I'm not sure what compelled me to pick up Persona 2, but yeah. It was a very, very interesting game. nose is too low. It's better. Sure. I have never cold. Sorry about that. Never cold. What's going on? What's happening, Kyung? What up, chat? You have Suikoden 2? I would have 2 copies of Suikoden 2 if I didn't keep my mouth shut. Or if only I had kept my mouth shut. So I bought Suikoden 2 from Toys R Us way back in the day, and I remember playing it, finishing it, thinking this is a great game. And then the Toys R Us by my house was closing, and so they were having a liquidation on everything. And so I went into their game, the game section, and there was Suikoden 2 for $19.99. And I'm like, yoink. And I brought it to the counter, and as the lady was about to scan it, I'm like, all right, Mom, so, because she said, you know, grab something, you know, you could go get a game. So why did I have to be so honest? I'm like, all right, Mom, so I'm just going to explain this to you, okay? I have this game already, but it's a really, really good game, and I think it's going to be worth something in the future, and so I'm going to buy this one, or, you know, you're buying this for me. I'm going to put this away, and I wanted to keep it, you know, factory sealed and everything. And she's like, that's stupid. Go put it back and get something else. But she wouldn't let me get it. And so, you know, if only I kept my mouth shut, I would have a factory sealed, mint condition Suikoden 2. But no. Instead, I have my, you know, opened one that I love and cherish. I've got Suikoden 2, the first one, the fighting game, Valkyrie Profile, Star Ocean. You know, I got, man, Tales of Destiny 2. You know, it was a great day. PlayStation was such a great era for RPGs. And I got, you know, between my brothers and I, we've owned every system except a Neo Geo AES and TurboGrafx. And that's it. We have everything else, I think. No. They're more of the obscure ones. I can't think of what they're called. Oh wait, do we have a Panasonic 3DO? I'm pretty sure my brother picked one up. But yeah, for whatever reason, actually I know the reason. For the longest time when we were kids, my brother wanted an Atari Jaguar. I'm like, you just want that for Doom. And it's like, yeah, just wanted it for Doom. Like, you'd rather, if you want to play Doom, just because, you know, the closest thing he could get to Doom was the Super Nintendo version. And it's like, dude, just save up, get a PC, which he eventually did. Windows 95. No, I actually, prior to the PlayStation, yeah, I bought a Saturn before I got into PlayStation, and Saturn was, you know, the Super, alright, so the Super Famicom or Super Nintendo is when I first realized that there were Japanese games, but I didn't actually buy any Super Famicom games until way later. My importing actually started with the Sega Saturn, and so I have, yeah, I would say like 2/3 of my Saturn and Dreamcast library are import games. Man, they were expensive. Yeah, we'll go with it. Factory sealed. That might go for over 1K. Yeah. And I remind her, I'm like, hey mom, you remember that game that that I told you, it's gonna be worth money in the future? And you're like, that's dumb. Go put it back. Yeah. About that. PS1 was amazing. Neo Geo was expensive AF. Yeah, man. But any when it comes to game collecting, that's kind of like the premier game collector's item is a Neo Geo with AES games. I actually have AES cartridges. I have what are they? I have a Mahjong game, and I have I forgot what it's called, but it's like an adventure. It's a side-scrolling adventure game, I think. What happened was we have a Goodwill by our house, and something just told me go into the Goodwill. And sure enough, I go into the Goodwill, and on the counter there's a whole row of Neo Geo like mint Neo Geo cartridges just in their boxes and everything. I'm like, what is this? So immediately I'm going through them looking for like Fatal Fury, King of Fighters, and all my favorite fighting games, and sure none of them were there. I got Robo Army, but let's say I got Robo Army, and there was one other game. I keep thinking King of Monsters, but it wasn't King of Monsters. It was something else. Whatever it was, yeah, I sold those on eBay. But yeah, that was man, that was a hell of a find. There was that, and then that very same month I went back and I found a chassis, it was full tower. So full tower, Cooler Master, limited edition NVIDIA full tower chassis. And like at the time I was thinking of building a computer. I'm like, what the crap? I'm looking at it. It's like in perfect condition. It's like, who gives this out to a Goodwill? And so actually my brother took it. I gave it to my brother, and he's still using it for his rig to this day. But yeah, it was like, man, this is a great Goodwill. Yeah, that was all in the same month too. Sheesh, either someone's wife got mad at their husband, or maybe the mom, someone's mom just raided the attic and was like, oh, let's get rid of this. Let's see. TG16 TurboGrafx was amazing. Yeah, 3DO was mad. I kind of suspected as such. The only reason why we ever wanted the 3DO was it was on a display over in the Walmart by our house, and right next to it was uh, was which one was it? It was like a ST Super Turbo Grandmaster Challenge, I think it was. But yeah, Super Street Fighter 2 Grandmaster Challenge. That was the only reason why I wanted it. But I never got it because it was hella expensive, and thankfully, it was never, it never happened. But yeah, I would always go over to the gaming the game area at Walmart, and I'd be like, Alpha 2. Yeah, I really wanted Alpha 2, and I'll never forget the day that I got it. It was amazing. But yeah, like recently I've had an urge to go play Children of the Atom. And I have it. I just don't want to go. I don't want to go unpack my Saturn and the game. The game's on the shelf over there somewhere, but yeah, so I looked for an emulator, and then it's like, oh crap, that's right. They took down all the emulators. All the ROMs there. So I don't know if the emulator's still up there, but meh. Saturn was great. Japanese. Saturn was great. Japanese games for the Saturn were crazy good. All the Capcom titles and shmups. Yep. Yeah. Shoot. I didn't like. They had a great library of shmups, but I didn't actually buy any of them. I do have Ikaruga for the Dreamcast, though. Hey, Ryan Cardinal. Never cold. Dude, that kind of stuff happens at Goodwill sometimes, lol. I found some amazing stuff myself. Yeah, man. Goodwill, you can find some good stuff sometimes. Ryan Cardinal, page is looking good, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's crazy. You should go more often. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're under new management because it's not nearly as nice as it used to be. The Goodwill by my house used to have like a ton of CRTs. And yeah, I've always like I've done a lot of moving throughout my life. Like I remember within the course of like 3 years, I moved more like the course of 5 years. I moved like 6 times, and yeah, it's like I always have at least one CRT TV wherever I live, so that if I want to boot up one of the old gaming systems, or if my son wants to play them, they look best on a CRT TV. And so yeah, I've had to get rid of so many like really nice. Like I had a Sony Trinitron that was like one of the really small compact ones, but it was like flawless. It was in perfect condition. I had to give it up because we didn't have enough room in the moving van, and so one of the apartment that or the townhome that we were living in, one of the cleaners who was cleaning up was eyeballing it. I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to take it with me. You want it? It's like, oh hell yeah! He told me he intended to use it for gaming, so it went to a good home at least. But yeah, they don't even have any CRTs anymore. No gaming stuff anymore. So I mean, you get like stray Game Boy cartridges, but it's like nothing that anybody really wants. But yeah, I used to go I used to go quite often to go hunting for games. It was funny because, you know, they would line up all of the of course they would throw like the PlayStation games with the compact discs, all of the audio CDs. But if you know what to look for, you know, you could you could find you could just scan and, you know, find the PlayStation games real quick. My brother was like, "How do you do that?" I'm like, "Look right here. They have the what is it? The NTSC. Um, they have that label on the side that compact discs don't have." So that's how you can spot the PlayStation games out of the mix. Let's see. Never Cold. Hey Kyung, why the sudden upsurge in comics gains social justice warrior banter yesterday? Was quiet for a bit. Something happened? I don't know. It's where was I listening? There was it was on Fanspeak. They were talking about something, and you know, they don't usually talk about, you know, drama on Fanspeak. So you know, they dropped it, but I have no idea, to be honest. You know, this is the first time. Yesterday was the first time that EVS streamed you know, in a while, and you know, they like, I don't know if there was anything specific that came out. I kind of just ignore most of it because I mean, none of it really mattered. I mean, not to say that it doesn't matter. I mean, it is something that, you know, we shouldn't be neglecting, because it is something that does matter. I mean, we all care about the comics industry, and we hope that it would, you know, get better. That this infestation would come to an end. But you know, if I don't know if there was any one thing in particular that triggered it, or if it was just, you know, discussion in regards to the year in review, and where we can move forward from there. But it's just it's so funny how, you know, even amongst people who are not considered NPCs or social justice warriors, there's still infighting. Like, I had no idea until I was on the stream earlier that the kill stream wasn't on good terms with Ian Miles Chung, or Ian, and I had no idea. So I don't know either of them. You know, I've never been on the kill stream. I watch it. I've been missing it though, because I'm not you know, I'm on YouTube a lot, and so it was really nice having them on YouTube until, well, you know, they got booted. And so now they're on Stream Me, and it's like, it's a little bit more of a hassle trying to remember trying to remember to go on Stream Me. But it's just, you know, it's like people have beef with other people, and it's like, eh. It's too much to keep track of. I'll just you know, I'll listen to it just to stay conscious of it, but I'm just making my comic, man. And if you like it, you like it. If it's not for you, that's cool. Thanks for, you know, thanks for checking it out anyway. I'm just offering an alternative. But, you know, I still care about those legacy characters in Marvel. Yeah, it's unfortunate that they're getting the treatment that they are getting right now. But it's not my decision. It's nothing that I can do personally to, you know, kind of redirect that ship. Aside from, you know, just not supporting what I don't like, so. So last time I went to my LCS was months ago. But I think they're still doing alright. Let's see. Oh wow, chat jumped off. The Ryan Cardinal, Samurai Showdown was dope on 3DO. Oh, that's right. It was on 3DO, wasn't it? Yeah. I'm really excited because they have that new Samurai Spirits in the works. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. That series looks really good in 3D. Like I was really excited when they took the King of Fighters 13 or was it 12? When they took yeah, or was it 11? The one where they went freaking balls to the walls with the new sprites. Like that game was gorgeous. And then they decided with 13, I think it's 13, to go back to 3D, and I'm like, or rather to go 3D. Maximum Impact was 3D. Was there a main King of Fighters entry that was 3D before 13? I don't think so. No. It's just they had that really long hiatus before before 11 or 12. I forget which one it was. Never Cold. I have that too, but my Saturn is buried. Oh, buried as in dead or buried under like clutter? Never Cold. Darkstalkers is a good one too. Yup. I've got Darkstalkers, Night Warriors. What's the third one? Vampire Hunt? No, Vampire Savior? I think so. The one with Jeddah. The Ryan Cardinal. I couldn't see any difference from the arcade to the 3DO for Samurai Showdown. Oh, that's pretty good. Saturn was dope indeed. Yep. I loved how, you know, one of the gimmicks with the Saturn was I loved the ROM cartridges. You know, the ROM and the RAM carts. I had the ST key, the ST key. You know, you had to have that in order to play imports on a domestic Saturn, and so I freaked out because that old cartridge, I lost it at one point. I'm like, how am I gonna play my games? And so yeah, I was thinking of buying another one, but then I found it, thankfully. But yeah, I still have that ST key. That thing, yeah, you had to put that in there, and then you had to swap the disc, and you had to work for your entertainment. And that's actually something, you know, I mean, even way back in the day, think about it. You know, You want to watch TV? Okay, we got to adjust the tracking. We got to get the antenna. We got to make sure the antenna is pointing in the right direction. You know, fine tune the tracking on the VCR if you want to watch a VHS movie. You want to see a particular scene in a movie, you know, you have to rewind it or fast forward to your favorite part. Nintendo, jeez, everyone had their own method of getting the freaking cartridge to work. It's like my method was actually pretty consistent. It had like a 95% success rating. It's like I took the cartridge, gently blew it, took it under the shirt from one side to the other side, and then swipe across. Put the cartridge inside, wiggle it, you know, get your fingers on the tips on each side, wiggle it until you saw the title screen, reset, and it was working. My method was pretty freaking good. My cousins, not so much. They had a terrible track record with their with getting their cartridges to work. But that's the thing, you know, you had to work for your entertainment back then, and it's like that's missing nowadays. You know, you had to put in work just to get your entertainment to work properly. That's why I started off my son, you know, he started off with the Nintendo. And the only reason he started off with the Nintendo is because I couldn't find our Atari 2600. I didn't know where it was. Come to find out, my brother had it stashed under his bed. He took it and he, like, stashed it. And it's like, where was it? I couldn't find it for the longest time. So yeah, my son started off with the Nintendo, then Super Nintendo, and from there he jumped up to the PlayStation 2, and then the Wii. Which I wasn't a big fan of the Wii. It was my brothers had bought the Wii. I camped out for the Wii, but I didn't buy. You know, I didn't buy it for myself. But my brothers got bored of it, and so they gave it to my son. He had a blast. But he still preferred the classics. Yeah, I was so proud of my son when he well, first of all, when he could enter, you know, the Contra code, the Konami code by himself. But when he made it to when he almost beat, or did he beat? I think he did. He beat Contra, yeah. He beat Contra without the code. Oh, no, not quite. I remember. I was playing with him, but still, without the code, and with, you know, even though we were playing co-op, the fact that he survived throughout the entire game was pretty friggin' impressive. So I was like, good job, man. I know, you know, friends of mine have never even beaten Contra. Radiant Silver Gun, holy crap. Trinitron, good stuff. Those in Wega, Bega. Young is a picker. I hated thrift stores. The smell, the weirdos that shop there. But once you find something dope, you're hooked. Yeah, man. Luckily the because I have multiple Goodwills near my house, and you know they're all okay. You don't get too many weird people. We do have a swap meet. The crappy thing about the swap meet is that you go into the shop, you go into one of the stalls, and it's like they have a lot of the retro games, but man, they're like coated in multiple layers of dust and everything like that. So you're gonna have to, unfortunately, you know, you can clean up the cartridges, but when it comes to like the boxes, man, those, it's hard to repair those things. Man, I've watched the GameStop dumpster diving videos. GameStop dumpster diving videos. Yeah, my cousin actually did a little bit of that. Those dumpster dives yield good stuff sometimes. Amazing that GameStop dumps. Yeah. I was kind of bummed the whole thing was getting heated again. I like it mellow. Yeah, yeah, me too, dude. It's like, I mean, at the end of the day, man, we're creating comics. And, you know, regardless what you, like, personally, I believe, you know, regardless what you believe in, you should be able to make comics if you want to make comics. It's just, you know, if you're going to be, if you want to be successful, there are some, you know, things you have to take into consideration. You know, you're not making the type of people who are making, you know, who are causing all of, you know, making a fuss and everything like that. They're putting out these comics and they're not selling, and it's like, who's your audience? You know, they're putting out these comics just to fulfill their own fantasies, and it's like, that's fine. You want to do that, that's fine, but don't get mad when people aren't you know, if your work isn't being reciprocated by you know, comic buyers. And the last thing you do is insult them. It's like, what's the matter with you? So we're not doing these comics for ourselves. We're doing it for people who'd be interested in, you know, want to become invested in these characters. The Ryan Cardinal, totally. Lots of games gone to the wayside. Indeed. GameStop. More like stop buying games. Hey, what's going on, Dan VR? Interesting. Talking games. Dan VR, I prefer Steam nowadays. Me too. I mean, I built a great gaming PC. The only problem now is I don't have time to play the games. But I use it for streaming. I got 2 monitors now, so I could, you know, check chat and, you know, stream, well, do what I'm doing right now. You know, it's a huge step forward from the ROG that I was using, Republic of Gamers, and the MSI laptop. Messed that one up. Alright, Claire is pretty much inked now. So I'm going to start wrapping it up, you guys. Where are we at? 2 hours, over 2 hours now. I had originally only intended to stream for 1 hour, but that's cool. You know, working on this and chatting with you guys, it's a lot of fun. Time just flies by. So I'm working like ridiculously slow right now. So what's gonna end up happening is after I'm done with this, merge it into the inks, get rid of the undersketch. All right, that's looking pretty good. Actually, I'm not gonna have to go over this because usually, sometimes I'll have to go through it again and go through with another pass of inks just to get in like the heavier lines, but I recalibrated my pen pressure, and now it's a lot more organic, and it's a lot more it's more attuned to what my actual traditional inks look like. So I'm able to get the proper variation in the line width as I'm going through my first pass. So it's it's a great time saver. Let's see. We got a local comic shop in Honolulu that's pretty much boring or booming. Not boring, booming. Not sure if it's because of the CCGs though. Shoot, I don't know if I don't think they sell comics. There's a place in Hawaii. I don't know if it's in Honolulu, but they're called Ideal 808. And well, actually, I think that's just their online shop now that I think about it. I think that might just be their online store and that their actual brick and mortar store is called something else. But yeah, that's I've actually traded in some cards with that shop before, and you know they give a really fair rate for their trade-ins. And they also have a decent stock of imported goods. Never cool. They didn't even know that there was that many King of Fighters. Oh man, I mean they started in '94 all the way to 2002, 2K2, and then even then they started coming up with all of these different spin-offs. Well, not spin-offs, but different. I lost track after 2K2. But yeah, they finally decided to go with with the. Why did they decide to go with 10, X, 11, 12, 13? I don't know. Buried under tons of clutter. Okay, so it's not dead. Dan VR. Was King of Fighters the game with the Nazi cyborg and Rasputin? No, that was World Heroes. World Heroes. Never Cold. Yeah, Vampire Savior. Never Cold. My Saturn is chipped. Yeah. Yeah, I never chipped my Saturn. Yeah, I just had the ST key. The Toaster NES pissed me off. Games took forever to get going sometimes. Yeah, the top loader... Wait, Toaster NES... Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw a top loader for sale recently, and it's $125. I was like, maybe... Nah, when am I gonna use it? I have the NES Mini. I also have an emulator, so and I have like 50 something Nintendo games over there just on that shelf with the Super Nintendo games and everything else. So 2 players without the code, impressive, man. Yeah. Man, he was at that time he was like 9 years old, so it's a really big accomplishment for him. He was so excited. Contra's a savage game. Dude, social justice warriors are going to be a serious threat. WTF should stand on the history of, if you just let them do what they do, then yeah, they could actually cause some serious damage. Dan VR, yeah, that's the downside of having Steam, easy access to billions of games, but no time to play them. Yeah, man. I mean, like, one of my friends, the friend that I grew up with that would come over all the time and play video games. He's got like 3 times the amount of games that I have on Steam. And I'd say he's only played about 1/5 of them. Some of them he hasn't even opened up. So he just goes a little ham when it comes to those Steam sales. Downside of having to adult. Yeah, no kidding. Dan VR, yeah, I mean I could spend the money on prostitutes and cocaine instead. Chats are dangerously addicting. Dan VR brings up a valid point. It's a good idea too, Dan VR, LOL. Alright guys, so just make sure that everything here is attached. Cool. So yeah, that's gonna pretty much do it for tonight. So I've been working on page 14. Been lazy. I just been inking the characters. I'll get around to wrapping up the backgrounds pretty soon, and then the spread on 18 and 19. So a little bit of action. I'm actually going to be going back to the first few pages and adding in a little bit of extra work on the action characters, because on the ones that are done right now, they're pretty well, they're pretty flat. So I want to add a little bit more dynamics to the symbols themselves, more like these guys right here. But other than that, yeah, the book is about 34% complete. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Let me catch up with the chat. Dude, top-notch manga art. Seriously, beautiful stuff. Thank you. I'm trying my best with this book. Right, Cardinal. All right, Kyung, I gotta roll to bed. Good-looking stuff as always, man. Maybe I'll see you on the Drawn and Quartered Pro Edition again soon. Yeah, man. You do good. You do great work. So I would not be... so I totally expect to see you there. Yeah, bedtime for me as well. Dan VR. And Never Cold. Right on, Kyung. Mahalo for the hang. Good night, chat. Alright, guys. So thank you guys so much for joining me. And until next time, take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Now, that's my record button. I need to hit the stop streaming button.